All right, guys, the Iceman here on the Jeffrey Rose YouTube channel. If you watched Impact Wrestling last night, you saw a really good show. I don't know how anybody could really have anything bad to say about this show last night. Basically, the show started off with Bully Ray coming down to the ring along with Miss Tessmacher and Tito Ortiz, and then in the back, behind them, Mr. Anderson coming up with the rest of the Aces and Eights group, and uh, Bully Ray basically, uh, sort of what, apologizing for his actions last week and whatnot, and you know, a typical opening segment for TNA, but it led to what was to happen later on, and I just loved TNA from the very beginning to the very end, and I just thought it was totally awesome. And he basically told everybody from the Aces Eights to take off that he was going to stay at ringside along with Miss Tessmacher because Knox and Chris Sabin were going to be the first match of the night. And this is the return of Chris Sabin since he lost the TNA World Heavyweight Championship belt. And this match started off, it was a pretty good match. Knox was pretty much in control through most of this match, but Sabin turned the tables as he had Knox where he wanted him. Bully Ray got the hammer into the ring, but Chris Sabin ended up taking the hammer and using it on Knox. The referee obviously saw it, disqualified Chris Sabin. Chris Sabin was in disbelief. He couldn't understand why he was disqualified for using the hammer because he isn't the one who brought it in the ring. Well, when it's all said and done, you used the hammer, you deserve to get disqualified. Now, if Knox was going to use it on you and the ref saw it, he would have done the same thing. So Sabin back in the locker room, very upset, said things needed to change. Velvet Sky was consoling him. And I think this may be a lead into a heel turn for Chris Sabin. We'll just have to wait and see what happens there. But it was a pretty good match overall. And we also then saw Mickie James come strolling out, pretty much talking about the Country Music Awards and how people shouldn't have booed Miley Cyrus and whatnot. And ODB came out, and ODB is really over with the fans right now. And they had a little confrontation, and this is just leading up to ODB challenging Mickie James for the TNA Knockouts Championship. So that ought to be a pretty good match as well. But we'll have to wait and see what develops out of that. And then after that, we had the 12-man gauntlet match for 20 points in the Bound for Glory series match. And what I liked about this was it showcased all the superstars. That's one thing I liked about TNA tonight. We had all our stars involved on this show tonight, this 2-hour show. And, I just thought it was, absolutely phenomenal. Jay Bradley and Hernandez started the gauntlet, and Bradley's trying to get Hernandez to side with him because there would be rewards if he helped him eliminate certain members in this gauntlet match, but Hernandez did not accept, and they started battling it out. The one thing I thought going into this gauntlet, I'll be honest with you, I really wasn't sure who was going to come out on top of this, although AJ cutting his promo last week sort of led me to believe that since he signed this short-term contract that TNA was going to try to push him along. This gauntlet was great. I thought it was excellent, and it came down to the fact that AJ Styles was the last member in the gauntlet and getting the 20 points, which puts him in the lead for the Bound for Glory series match. And I thought this was absolutely excellent. We saw AJ in the ring along with Austin Aries, Bobby Roode, and Magnus. And since AJ did win, he had the right to pick his opponent for next week in the semifinals. And he couldn't have picked anybody better than picking Austin Aries because I think these two guys are like so similar in their wrestling styles. They're so quick in the ring. They're so versatile. This is going to be an excellent match. We've seen them for a short time in the past in very short matches. But I think this is going to be great for TNA. And what this leaves is Magnus going up against Bobby Roode in the other semifinal. And that should be just as great as well. So I thought overall, this 12-man gauntlet match was excellent. So it just brought out some really good things in TNA. We also had Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff go up against the tag team champions James Storm and Gunner in a non-title match. And what this match did for me was show that maybe TNA is deciding finally to take the belts off James Storm and Gunner. We don't see them wrestle that often anyhow. And maybe it's about time to promote some other guys within TNA. And I really would like to see, Bischoff and Wes Briscoe finally do something instead of just being the crony bullies in the background of Aces and Eights. And maybe this will lead up to something bigger and better for these two guys. And I think it's a nice change there as well. So I thought that was pretty darn good. Yeah, I mean, so far the show I thought really delivered, and it was great. Then we saw Bully Ray go up against Sting. Bully Ray pointed out that it was a non-title match since Sting cannot wrestle for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship no more after he lost to Bully at Slammiversary. Hogan was out there trying to change up things and one-up Bully Ray. The match broke out, and of course, as we've seen so many times in the past, the other members of Aces and Eights get involved. Finally, Main Event Mafia came out, and it was a brawl back and forth, and which led to something that I thought was a little predictable from last week, but I loved it anyway, that Mr. Anderson turned on Bully Ray and told Bully that he was going to be facing him next week for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship belt. So all in all, guys, I mean, this show was captivating from beginning to end. I thought it was great. I don't know how it's going to do in the ratings, and you have to realize this. When a show is taped and you get to see the spoilers, it's definitely going to take viewers away from watching the show. But in any event, like I said, I never watch spoilers. And, I, for one, thought this show was excellent tonight. And it's just a good lead-in show going into the No Surrender free preview next Thursday on Spike TV. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to see what happens with Chris Sabin. I do think there's a heel turn in the making. And it looks as though to me that Mr. Anderson is turning face. So obviously they're swapping baby face and heels here. But yeah, I loved what I saw. And if you guys got to see it, I'd like to hear your opinion as well. Again, TNA has really stepped up in the last month or so, and whether you want to like it or not, you have to admit, if you watch the show, that it's been pretty darn good. So that's my review on Impact Wrestling for last night, Thursday, September 5th. Peace out, everybody, and we'll see y'all next time. Enjoy.